Let me tell you, how fast and or effectively you are able to manifest is not half as complicated as the internet would have you believe. In fact, more than 90%, yes, 90% of your results come from your identity. And before you switch off because you hear the word identity and think it's about positive thinking or self-love quotes you don't even believe, let me be very clear. Your identity isn't what you want or what you say you believe. It actually goes so much deeper. On top of what is conscious to you, your identity also consists of what your nervous system, your subconscious mind, and your brain have learned are normal and safe for you. So if you want to manifest on easy mode, you need to learn how to shift those subconscious beliefs. By the way, my name's Natalia, and when I say that I know what it feels like to be at absolute rock bottom, I mean, I spent the majority of my 20s in psych wards, addicted to substances, drowning in anxiety and depression, and I had an anxious attachment, mental health crisis after mental health crisis, literally like the kind of chaos that was life-threatening. Now I manifest experiences, opportunities, and abundance I never thought was possible for me. Not by wishful thinking, but by continually upgrading myself through who I am at my core, my identity. The version of me that exists today is the version I became through rigorous identity work, embodied alignment, and conscious manifestation. The reason I'm telling you this is because if I can go from completely broken to thriving, you can too. You just need the right lens, the right framework, and the willingness to call yourself out on the beliefs that are holding you hostage. So if you're into evolving into the best, most hottest, most evolved and authentic version of you, hit that subscribe button, drop a thumbs up on this video, leave me a comment. I'd really love for you to stick around as I continue to build a community of like-minded women. We can all learn from each other. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. So when it comes to manifestation and consciously creating a new reality for yourself, there are 3 key things your identity dictates. Firstly, it dictates your self-concept. Your self-concept is that internal story you run about who you are, what you're capable of, and what typically happens to people like you. Your brain is wired to act in alignment with that story through something called confirmation bias. Your brain literally filters reality to prove itself right. The result of that is instead of seeing an opportunity or an event for what it actually is, you see evidence. You see evidence that confirms who you think you are. The second thing your identity dictates is how much you trust yourself. Your identity determines whether you are someone who backs your own decisions, whether you're someone who follows through and takes risks, or whether you're someone who will self-sabotage the second things start working for you. If deep down you don't see yourself as someone who has the potential to succeed in whatever it is your desire requires you to succeed in, your brain will do what it does and find a way to pull you back into familiar territory, even if that territory is painful and not what you consciously think you want. Lastly, and this is the big one, your identity dictates how safe you feel to receive more. So your nervous system has a baseline. It's sort of like a set point. This baseline is determined by your past experiences, trauma, attachment patterns, conditioning, repetition. So if abundance, love, peace, success, or ease sits outside of what your nervous system considers familiar and therefore safe, you will unconsciously reject it. You will find yourself delaying it, making excuses for not doing the action that it'll take to get there. You'll find yourself feeling obscenely anxious the moment it gets close to arriving. Basically, you'll do anything to fuck this up. So if your identity dictates your self-concept, how much you trust yourself, and how safe your nervous system feels to receive more, then it's safe to say that those 3 things determine how you show up for your desire and what you want to manifest on a day-to-day basis. So when people say manifestation doesn't work, what they're really saying is my identity is not a match for the life I'm trying to create for myself. That is why this next part matters, because there are 3 core identity beliefs that directly shape each one of those 3 areas: your self-concept, your self-trust, and your capacity to receive. These beliefs quietly run in the background, influencing your decisions, your behaviors, and the results you keep creating for yourself. So, contrary to what most people tend to think, these beliefs don't just affect how you think. They affect what you choose, what you tolerate, what you avoid, and what you will or will not allow yourself to have. And in my experience, again, both personally and professionally, these three beliefs account for around 90% of why someone either moves towards their dream life or keeps recreating the same reality. So let's break them down, starting with belief number 1, I'm not enough. Now, this one is huge because it runs a show for almost everybody who feels stuck, either consciously or unconsciously. And please keep unconsciously in mind, because so many people are quick to dismiss it when they first hear it, like, couldn't be me, because they don't consciously think I'm not enough in so many words. But this belief can show up in so many different ways, from hesitation, self-sabotage, comparison, perfectionism, to overgiving and staying in situations that aren't really good for you. Now, a lot of the time, the reason for these things is because deep down your belief is that you don't deserve better yet. Psychologically, this ties directly to self-concept. Your self-concept is your brain's operating system, so the version of reality you are wired to expect for yourself. Neuroscience tells us that your brain is constantly scanning for evidence that confirms this self-concept. Like I said before, this is called confirmation bias. What this shows us is that if your brain believes you are not enough, it will filter your reality to continually reinforce that belief. And here's where this gets really interesting. So they did this experiment with rats, and poor rats. I don't like that they do this, but it's so fascinating. These rats were placed in cages with uncomfortable, even painful conditions, but they stayed in there for as long as possible. These rats would not move into a new, better environment until the old situation becomes so unbearably painful that staying was no longer an option for them. And when you think about it, that is exactly how a lot of us operate. We know we want more, but we are neurologically wired to stay in the familiar hell because it's the only thing our nervous system knows for sure is going to be safe. Safe doesn't have to mean enjoyable. Safe just means that you're alive. So the idea of stepping into a new life where we are enough, where abundance is natural, feels dangerous to us because we simply haven't experienced it yet. It's foreign to us. So that is why this first belief of I am not enough literally keeps you in the cage of your current life, and this belief will do that until the pain of staying outweighs the fear of stepping out. Moving on to the second belief that stops manifestation dead in its tracks, and this is the one that makes you think if you just plan harder, hustle more, or control every step along the way, then you'll finally get what you want. So as you know, your identity shapes how much you trust yourself and your environment. And if deep down you believe that the world is an unpredictable place, or that you cannot trust yourself, or that not having complete control equals danger, your brain will try and control everything from your calendar to your outcomes in order to feel safe. Now, what does this do to you when you're trying to manifest? This belief shuts down flow. It blocks opportunities. Studies they've done on stress and cortisol show that chronic over-control and hypervigilance literally reduces your brain's ability to process novelty and make high-level decisions. So while you may think that you're just protecting yourself, you're actually locking yourself into the familiar patterns even when you know they're not working for you. Think of your nervous system like a thermostat, but instead of monitoring temperature, it's keeping track of how safe you are in any given situation. If your safety set point is turned down really low, you will resist anything that exceeds that temperature. So you can consciously try to crank the heat up. So that would be like you trying all the different methods like visualization, meditation, journaling, but your body's default will be to turn that dial back down. And this is exactly why so many people talk about nervous system regulation when it comes to manifestation, because it isn't just about wanting, it's about expanding what you're actually able to tolerate. And until that happens, your sense of control is really just resistance to whatever it is you're trying to manifest. And finally, we have belief number 3, which is perfectionism. Now, this belief is probably the most insidious because it masquerades as discipline. You think, if I just fix this, if I just tweak that, if I just do a little bit more, be more, then that will finally get me the life I want, the life I've been chasing. Perfectionism is really just your way of trying to control the fear of the unfamiliar. And again, it goes back to the fact that if your nervous system doesn't feel safe receiving more love, more money, more freedom, you'll unconsciously block it by waiting until you're ready. It's the exact same principle seen in the rat experiments, in human psychology, and in behavioral economics. We will continue to stay stuck in predictable suffering until either the pain becomes unbearable or we expand our tolerance for new unknown possibilities. And you also need to keep in mind that expansion isn't theoretical, it's embodied. It's feeling safe in your body to receive more than you've ever allowed yourself to receive before. The moment you release the need to be perfect, and I know this is so much easier said than done, but the moment you actually allow yourself to act from alignment rather than from fear, your nervous system will start to shift. Your body starts to accept the new, the better, the abundant, the joyful, and that is when manifestation actually starts flowing for you instead of stalling out and falling flat at the thought stage. So now I'm just going to be really blunt. Knowing you want more is not enough. Your brain will fight it, your body will resist it, and your old identity will sabotage it unless you have addressed the beliefs that run the show. These 3 identity beliefs, not enough, over control, perfectionism, are the lens your nervous system and subconscious mind use to filter reality. They decide what you go for, what you tolerate, and what you're unconsciously blocking. Understanding them is the first step. Rewriting them through identity and nervous system work is the bridge from dreaming about your life to actually living it. So now that you understand why these beliefs are blocking your manifestations, let's talk about how we put that awareness into practice and actually change them. Most of us think that identity shifts when you finally believe something new about yourself. Yes and no. In order to shift these deeply rooted beliefs, we need to get into our bodies and experience something new. We need to experience something new often enough that our brain actually goes, oh, this is allowed now. This is safe for me. So whether your belief is I'm not enough, I need to control everything, or I have to be perfect to deserve more, they all come from the same place. Your nervous system learned a version of reality that kept you safe once, and now it's enforcing that reality, even if it's holding you back. So the first thing you're going to want to do to change these beliefs is stop treating them like they're thoughts. You need to understand that they are not opinions you hold. They're more like reflexes. They live in the body, not in the intellect, which is why insight alone does nothing to change them. You can understand exactly why you are the way that you are and still keep doing the same thing. This is backed by neuroscience. The subconscious mind learns through repetition and experience, not logic. Like, really, think about it. If logic was enough, no one would be anxious. No one would be addicted to substances or self-sabotaging. So the goal is not to convince yourself of something new. It's to give your nervous system, your body, the data it needs to change the belief. Next, you want to create new evidence through behavior. Your identity updates through behavior first, not belief. So you don't believe your way into new behavior. You behave your way into a new identity. This is behavioral psychology. Every time you act in a way that contradicts your old identity and survive it, your brain is forced to recalibrate. So when you do things like following through on something when it would have been easier to avoid, when you take action before you feel fully ready, when you allow yourself to receive without overcompensating, you're letting your nervous system know who you want to be now. I know it's probably not what you wanted to hear, right? But it's how you do it. When it comes to identity and actually reprogramming these types of beliefs that often come from childhood, You can't do this big, grand, all or nothing intervention. It's small actions repeated often, and repeated often is key, which brings me to my third point. Most people do the brave thing and then they immediately numb, distract, justify, or overthink it. And that is not what you want to be doing, because it interrupts the rewiring. So when, not if, but when discomfort comes up during this process, when you take the action and immediately feel the anxiety, the guilt, the urge to control, the urge to shrink yourself, don't get rid of it. It's more important now than ever that you stay present. Breathe through it, ground yourself, let the body learn that the sensation you are feeling is not dangerous. It may be uncomfortable in the moment, yes, but that is how you expand your capacity. That is how you move from familiar hell to unfamiliar safety without needing a crisis to push you there. Every single time you show up differently, even in small ways, you're dissolving these beliefs without the need for you to fight them. And I promise you, eventually they stop feeling true because your body outgrows them. So this is why simply wanting more doesn't change your life. Wanting is conscious. Identity is mostly subconscious. And until your body feels safe holding more, whether that's more stability, more success, more love, more ease, whatever it is for you, it will default back to what it knows. It's what people call self-sabotage, right? But really it's survival. It's literally your body's way of trying to protect you. So if you take nothing else from this video, I hope you learned that manifestation has nothing to do with wanting, wishing, or even planning. It's about becoming the version of yourself whose nervous system can hold the life you're asking for. Because when you can, you're no longer the person who has to force or hustle. You're able to just flow, attract, and receive. I hope this video helped you understand a little bit more about why your identity dictates your manifestations and how to start shifting it in a way that actually works. If you happen to have any questions about this process, I want to hear from you. Drop them in the comments and I'll get back to you. I really do love connecting with the community I'm trying to build, and helping you untangle this stuff in real life gets me so excited. Oh, and if you want to keep learning with me, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I plan to be posting every Saturday morning moving forward, plus the occasional surprise content to help you glow up, reconnect with your feminine energy, and step into the sexiest, most self-loving version of you, which really is the goal of my content and everything I am doing over here at the end of the day. If you are looking for extra support aside from my content, you can find the links in the description box below for my SATS 3-day manifestation guide, which is my completely free guide to Neville Goddard's infamous SATS method. You will also find the link to grab my feminine energy reconnection blueprint and to work with me one-on-one. I'm here for you, and I'm all about helping you become the most embodied, aligned, and unapologetically you version of you. Let me know in the comments what you want next, whether it's more nervous system stuff, identity work, manifestation strategies, or just ways to help you step into your feminine energy and feel unstoppable. I've got you, and we're just getting started over here. See you next time, gorgeous. Happy manifesting.